All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another trade talk video. Today we are going to be talking about maybe the most disappointing team in the NBA, the LA Clippers. And on my main channel today, my SROS channel, I dropped just kind of a breakdown of what's going on with the Clippers. We all know that the Oklahoma City Thunder own their first round pick, and there's a chance that the best team in the NBA, the 20-1 Thunder, could get a top 5 pick in the draft. Imagine Jalen Williams at the 3, Cameron Boozer at the 4, and Chet Holmgren at the 5, or Darren Peterson in the backcourt with Shea. We're going to basically go through the trade machine today with the LA Clippers in 2 different parts. First part, we're going to talk about them buying to try to maximize what they have right now. The other part, we're going to talk about them going the other direction and selling. So right now, the Clippers are 5-15. Now, I'm recording this, I believe the Sacramento Kings, yeah, they just lost to the Memphis Grizzlies, so they're not going to be picking probably pick 5 anymore. But the fact that they're, like 6 at the moment, you run the lottery sim, and there's a chance the Thunder could be picking in the top 3. Maybe there's a chance they're picking 8. Like, it's not going to take many spins for me to get them in the top 4. There you go. They're taking Caleb Wilson. How many times will it take me to get them in the top 3? There you go. They're getting Cameron Boozer. We do not need this to happen. As a fan of parity, or you know what's crazy? Like, it's a whole different debate. Maybe it's a video I'll make one day. I do think dynasties are really good for sports. I think the aura and the allure of talking about past dynasties gives the sport, I think, something special to talk about. Being able to talk about the 80s Lakers and the Bulls, right? Or excuse me, the 80s Lakers and Celtics, the 60s, 70s Celtics with Bill Russell. You have the 90s Bulls. You have the Spurs with Tim Duncan. You have the Showtime Lakers. You have the Heatles. You have the Dynasty Warriors. I think it's great for the sport. You know how much the Dallas Cowboys are talked about in the NFL with Michael Irvin. People talk about the Yankees all the time and what they were in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And you have maybe what's going on with the Dodgers. I think it's good for the sport. It just kind of sucks when it's a team you don't like and it's obviously not your team. So yeah, we're going to try to make today the Thunder not a dynasty. I have no idea what's going to end up happening by the end of the year. I mean, the Clippers are currently 24th in net rating, 25th in defensive rating, 23rd in offensive rating. Their third best offensive player going into the year, Bradley Beal, is out for the year after 6 pretty abysmal games. And yeah, it's up to a 36-year-old James Harden and a 34-year-old Kawhi Leonard to save this team, and we'll see what Lawrence Frank ends up doing. So we'll talk about them buying here today. It's them saying that this is our 2-year window. We're okay being aggressive. I don't know how much draft picks will be on the table in this 2-year window, but we'll see. And the Clippers are desperate. I think they are desperate. I don't know if Steve Ballmer will step in and try to make a desperate move. I don't know if they're going to just use Ty Lue as a scapegoat. Either way, we can go into a bunch of different desperate trades. Now, there is that carousel of point guards that are on the not trade market, but you think Ja could get traded, LaMelo, Trae Young, those guys of the world, Trae Young, I don't even know if I want to say his name. You have James Harden. I don't think that's what you need, because you definitely need some defensive help right now when that was your bread and butter and your bottom 5 in defense, and Derrick Jones Jr., arguably your best defender, perimeter defender, is out for a little bit. So there's a couple different routes I think we can go. I mean, you got to look at some maybe bad contracts in the NBA, but then again, this team wants to maximize 2027 cap space to maybe make a splash. I don't think they're getting a Kawhi, Paul George 2.0, but Giannis, Jokic, you can't say that these guys are signing with the Clippers. The odds of this happening are less than 5%. So you don't want to put all your eggs in that basket. I think a team you can definitely call right away, the Sacramento Kings. Zach LaVine has an expiring contract at the end of the year, and it's somewhat gettable with the salaries that the Clippers do have. So you can obviously, the John Collins $26.5 million expiring is very juicy, because that can get you 80% there, 60% there in most big trades. Bogdan Bogdanovic has a team option at the end of the year. Therefore, that is an appealing deal. Teams would maybe value Bogey's shooting and the chance that they can just cut him in the offseason. Now, if you're getting Zach LaVine, do you have to give up a valuable asset like a Chris Dunn in a way? Or, so Chris Dunn does work financially, and I think Chris Dunn would be valuable on a lot of teams. Definitely the Clippers need his defense. I don't know if the Kings need another guard in this trade. I mean, Bogey signed with the Kings, right? And then that got waived back. Well, he's technically drafted by the Kings. I think started his career with the Kings. No, am I thinking of Dante DiVincenzo? What am I thinking of? Maybe I'm thinking of DiVincenzo because there was like a thing that happened like during COVID. I remember it was like my senior year of college, and I thought it was Bogey or was it Dante? Maybe it was Dante that like this year signed like a restricted deal with the Kings or something. Maybe it was Bogey, and then it was like tampering, so they had to nix the deal. What am I remembering? I don't know. Somebody in the comments or one of you guys will definitely remember and let me know. So yeah, Bogey goes to Sacramento. Collins, this team definitely needs some front court help and done. It's just like for the Kings, this gets you out of a lot of money this year. This is an intriguing $48 million of expiring money. That is juicy. Now you're off of the Levine tax bill next year. You can maybe implement some guys here in the offseason. I mean, because we can also look at maybe some of the upcoming free agents here in the NBA too, because this would be a reasoning why maybe Sacramento would do this. I mean, Sacramento wants point guard help. I don't know if they would offer a bag to Trae Young. Maybe they would, and this is their path there, or something like that. Like Andrew Wiggins can become a free agent. Hartenstein, Kristaps, Fred VanVleet probably back in Houston, or we'll see if he gets traded either way. Simon's like plenty of Kuminga, like a lot of guys Sacramento can throw money at this offseason. It's not actually the worst free agency class. I mean, guys will sign throughout the year, but like Sexton, interesting guy out there. Rui, interesting guy. I mean, Lou Dort's team option going to get picked up. I'm going on a tangent here, but Mitchell Robinson's an unrestricted free agent. Quentin Grimes, Cam Thomas, those guys are free agents. I think like the way Andrew Wiggins is playing, I know it's a $30 million player option, but I think he can opt out and get more guaranteed money. Like he can get like 3 for 60 for sure. He can probably get 3 for 75 the way he's playing right now. Harden can opt out. So yeah, there's a bunch of things Sacramento can do with cap space. So maybe that's all that it takes. The thing is with the Clippers, they don't really have first round picks that they could trade, right? Like these are pretty much, swaps with OKC. There's outrights to OKC. It's kind of a disaster at the moment. They don't really own their direct first rounder until 2030. Philly owns a 2029 first, I believe. I guess it is top 4 protected. I didn't really know that actually. Does that what that mean? Oh, Spot Check always makes these confusing. Yeah, it's a top 4 protected swap in 2029. But Philly owns your direct first in 2028. So maybe Philly has the swap, honestly, on that trade. Either way, this team does not own a first round pick till 2030. So you can get Zach LaVine, who basically he becomes what Norman Powell was for you last year. I don't know if that's going to be an upgrade from what Norman Powell was for you last year, but you get that third guy next to Kawhi and James Harden, Zubats. I guess your optimal lineup at the end of the day would be Harden at the 1, LaVine at the 2. Kawhi at the 3, Jones at the 4, Zubats at the 5. Now the bench sucks. Like the bench is really bad. I mean, I guess what you could do in this trade, I don't know if the Kings would want it, but like maybe you can keep Chris Dunn. And then, I mean, honestly, like, yeah, Bradley Beal for $5 million is like whatever next year, like maybe intriguing. But once he's eligible to get traded, I would just send out Bradley Beal in this trade because you need a bench. And at least Chris Dunn can help you as Bradley Beal can't. So you'd have some type of bench of like Brook Lopez, Kobe Sanders, Batum, Christie, Dunn, Jordan Miller when he's recovered from the knee. What does he have, the knee or the hamstring? It's the hamstring injury. Like that's something, right? And yeah, I'll definitely put like a timestamp, I think, in the description between parts of me buying with this team and parts with me selling. So Zach LaVine, I think, is definitely somebody out there. I mean, you could stay on the topic of the Sacramento Kings because it could cost you a lot less to go out and get DeMar DeRozan. Now, I mean, you can go about this 2 different ways. Can you get to DeRozan's money with Bogey and like Bradley Beal, for example? Okay, you can't because that's at about $24 million. Does throwing in Kobe Brown get that done? Does Kobe Brown? No, it does not. Okay, so yeah, it's right there at $400K. So what you could definitely do. Oh, so can you throw Conan Niederhauser? I mean, that's a pretty hefty package. Not a hefty package, but like throwing in these 3. Oh no, this trade does fail by $300K. Okay, never mind. So what I was basically saying is, could you do straight up John Collins for DeMar DeRozan? They're making a very similar amount, and yes, you can do that. I don't know if why is this not gonna work right now? Basically just trying to do John Collins for DeMar DeRozan. That technically does work. Get you a little bit better of a shot creator. Sacramento's front court's really bad. Collins, you can maybe think about re-signing, is a lot younger than DeRozan. And DeRozan's contract next year is, like, he's owed money. DeRozan's owed, like, oh, man. I went over this in the Kings one. But he's owed, like, money based on, like, incentives on making the All-Star game last year and this year, which he didn't make it last year. He's not going to make it this year. And then it essentially becomes $10 million guaranteed. That's pretty much what it's going to be, $10 million guaranteed. So you can waive DeRozan at that and like you'll feel it, but it's not the end of the world. Or you're fine with fully committing into the 25.70 zone next year for the Clippers because he fits that 2-year window with everybody being a free agent in 2027. So that could make sense. You don't have to gut your bench a little bit more. DeRozan, I mean, is a good scorer still, but he's not the player he used to be. He's averaging around 18 points this year. He's been a little bit more willing to shoot threes. Not as much as last year, but still something. And like I said, it just gives you another scoring option when Kawhi Leonard has to load manage or something like that. It just kind of gives you a little bit of a safety valve. So DeRozan, Zach LaVine, I think could make sense for the Sacramento Kings. If they were going to be, I think, aggressive looking for that wing score. I'm getting like aggressive. Like, I don't think a minor move helps. I mean, it could, but we're trying to use this expiring money. So the next team is the Dallas Mavericks. Once again, I don't know how desperate they're really going to be. And would you be interested in trading for Anthony Davis, who's making $54 million? He can be a free agent in 2027. He has a player option that year, so he doesn't fit that 2-year timeline. And you're wondering, like, trying to figure out AD's trade value is just a mental like pretzel. Like, just it's a mess, right? There's a couple different ways you can go out this as well. I think Collins, Bogey, and Derrick Jones Jr. can get you pretty close. If not, get you there completely. LA's hard capped by 200K. So, I mean, you would have clearly run into some bench issues with this, but technically you could do, oh no, this is tough. So this is actually, if you do Collins, Bogey, and Derrick Jones Jr., LA is hard capped by the first apron by 200K. I mean, can you take out Derrick Jones Jr.? But then again, like, Derrick Jones Jr. is probably the best asset in this deal. Let me just do Brook Lopez. Does that work financially? Nope. LA is still hard capped by about $1 million. Oh, no. I need to go up more. Damn, this is really tough to pull off. So if you were going to do Bogey, Derrick Jones Jr., and like Brook Lopez, like, let me just throw the 4-for-1 in here. I don't even know if Dallas can afford this. Dallas can't even afford this. Okay, so what I was going to essentially say is Ivica Zubac. Is that on the table? Is Anthony Davis, when healthy, better than Ivica Zubac? Yes, but I trust Zubac's reliability a little bit more when he's out there. And I mean, this basically hard caps Dallas at the first apron as well. So it's very tricky to get there with the financials with and without Ivica Zubac in this deal. I don't even know if Dallas is intrigued about any. Well, I mean, like, Dallas would probably say yes to this, like Zubac. And then you think about moving Gafford or something, or Lively. I know you kind of have an abundance of centers, but Derrick Jones Jr. thrived with Dallas in 24. I think could be a good Maverick for sure. And then, yeah, like, you're kind of throwing in Bogey or John Collins to make the money work. I mean, you do John Collins and Bogey, that gets you to about $42 million. It's just 80's making $54 million. It's almost next to impossible to get something like this done. Like, I'm just kind of messing around here. Say you throw in the 4-for-2. Does that work financially? I mean, yeah, this is really difficult. Maybe you do Dante Exum in this deal instead. Or no, you might have to clear up more money if you're Dallas. So let's say you do Caleb Martin. Does that even work, or is that too much as well? That might be too much. Yeah, trying to figure out an AD to the Clippers trade is a mess. And once again, I just don't know if that really helps them right now. Like, AD is a great defender, but you already worry about Kawhi's health and his availability. Getting Anthony Davis, who hasn't really shown the best availability in his Mavericks days, probably isn't the wisest decision in the world. I think Lauri Markkanen or the Jazz would listen to Lauri Markkanen trades, but you have to give up more than what we've talked about. So, actually, Utah can't reacquire John Collins within the same calendar year. So, yeah, never mind. John Collins was definitely going to get us there financially at $46 million. You're either including Zubac. I was going to include Collins and probably like a 2031 first, 2032 swap in those. Yeah, that's a little bit unrealistic, I would say. The Brooklyn Nets, I think, are a team that could have some intriguing offensive players that could be made available. Michael Porter Jr. is an obvious one. So say you did an expiring of John Collins, which Brooklyn wants to be good next year, I would think. They don't own their first round pick, so Michael Porter Jr. could help them next year, or they could just get out of his $40 million next year with an expiring Collins, who could help them if they re-sign, but it gives them a lot of cap flexibility if they wanted to throw a big offer at a Trae Young. I don't know who else here. Wiggins, Hartenstein, like, they could sign a couple different role players. I don't know what route they would end up going, Brooklyn. I think the lottery also depends a lot with them as well. But say you do like Michael Porter Jr. for John Collins and Bogdan Bogdanovic, that might work financially. I mean, I think MPJ has played well enough where it might cost you a valuable piece. I don't know if it's a 2031 swap, 2032 swap, which is very scary to do and very risky. Now you're going to hope, if you're the Clippers, this core is mostly gone outside of Zubats after the 2027 season. So you hope if you land a franchise star down the line in free agency, because that's how it's going to have to happen, because I doubt this team's going to tank with no direct line to their picks. You're going to hope that, like, giving them a 2032 swap is fine because you think that the next franchise guy you have is going to be good in 2032. But heck, even in, say in the best scenario for this team, like it's the absolute best, picture perfect, they sign Giannis in 2027. Giannis is 30. So if they traded a pick away in 7 years from now, Giannis would be 37 years old. Like, and that's saying this. So obviously you hope that things work out, you get Giannis, you figure it out. But that is just also like, what's the odds that you could say today that Giannis signs with the Clippers in 27? Like, it's like a 1% chance. It's maybe even less than that. So something like this, we'll say you really get the Nets in a good mood and they just want a salary dump. I would say, like, it would be cool as well if you can get Cam Thomas, who can veto trades because of the qualifying offer he signed. So say you throw Cam Thomas in this deal, you basically, I mean, the Nets can take back some pretty bad money, which is good. Like, say you do Nick Batum, for all I care. Does that make, like, does that work financially? It does. For the most part, expiring money, I do think, yeah, Batum has a $5.8 million non-guarantee. Oh, Brook Lopez is non-guaranteed as well. So I think teams would be willing to take that on for sure. And I just think, like, for the reason Brooklyn doing this, like, expiring money isn't as appealing unless this free agency class was a whole lot better. Like, I don't know. Like, you're not going to throw $150 million at a 32-year-old Norman Powell, like Vucevic, Casey. A lot of these guys are just like short-term fixes. I don't think like long-term answers for Brooklyn outside of maybe Trae Young, maybe, and that's even if he hits the open market and he leaves Atlanta, because there's so many ifs in there. So that's like the Clippers' idea of getting those two. I think you might have to include like an unprotected swap down the line. Now, maybe I'm playing too much 2K because I did this trade in my Clippers rebuild and it worked and we won it all, but that is just not, like, this would not work in a playoff series, I think. Like, you have Harden, Cam Thomas, or Harden, Chris Dunn might make more sense with Cam Thomas as your sixth man. And then you go Kawhi, Michael Porter Jr., Zubats. Derrick Jones Jr. can come off the bench still as well. Like, you still maintain some bench pieces like Lopez and Niederhauser for the future. Yeah, like, this is like the best case scenario, I think. I think it would be. But I think Michael Porter Jr. is playing too good where I don't think he's going for a straight salary dump. I think, like, if you include this 2030 first or swap, I think that could get Brooklyn interested, because the Clippers' future is so unpredictable right now with the way they're heading. So I think that's one that we could maybe convince Sean Marks on that one as well. Nothing says I'm more desperate than trying to trade for like a Miles Bridges. I mean, you can make that money work pretty easily. This gives Charlotte some cap relief going forward because John Collins isn't expiring. I do think if they are going to make some type of win now move, John Collins is the guy to end up doing it. I mean, once again, this season could be such a disaster. Like, going back to the Michael Porter Jr. trading away your 2030 first, any of them is just a terrible idea. We saw Phoenix trade away their 2031 unprotected first round pick for 3 first rounders that are like not that sexy from the Jazz to dump the Yusuf Nurkic money, or to Charlotte, or no, to the Jazz, and then use one of those to dump the Yusuf Nurkic contract. Don't do that. I'm sure the Clippers or the Suns are regretting that, and they would like to have their 2031 unprotected first in their possession right now. So yeah, Miles Bridges could make sense. He's a little bit better as like an offensive weapon than John Collins, but yeah, it's a complete desperate move. I'm not even going to entertain like a LaMelo Ball idea. I don't think they're going to have anything to get done with like Indiana. I don't even know what they're going to sell at the deadline. Washington, like, yeah, you can get enough money there for McCollum or Middleton, but that doesn't move you. You'd rather just bank that they could be there in the buyout market. Most of these teams like Toronto, Boston, Cleveland, Milwaukee, the only guy there would be like Anthony Simons. Once again, that doesn't move me. Chicago has pieces. Once again, Chicago operates in a way where it's like, we don't want to enter into a rebuild. We're cool with our playing tournament revenue. once again, like, you could throw Collins and Bogey at them and give them some pretty good salary relief. The only thing, okay, the one thing I can think of here is how negative is the Patrick Williams contract to Jerry Reinsdorf in this front office, because Patrick Williams, once again, is shooting like sub 40% on the field, and he's got a gross ass contract. Like, it's one of the worst contracts in the league. You could say he's 24. What, like, are the odds Chicago, like, change of scenery, we send Patrick Williams to the Clippers, but I think, like, in order to do this, you need to get Kobe White in a way. So say you do, like, does this work? The Bulls are acquiring about $3 million more. So let's just send, like, Dalen Terry to the Clippers. I think this gets iffy with the Clippers financial situation. Okay, this technically works. Now, I don't think Patrick, like, this is not a deal that the Bulls would accept. Kobe White has the most value out of anybody in this deal. One, he's an expiring contract, so yeah, there's a chance the Clippers, like, you gotta pay him in a way. But, like, say you throw in a future first-round pick and the ability to wipe out $18 million per year for the next 3 years off your books. Once again, I don't think Chicago should operate like this. They're not a good team. They need to keep, I think, the asset of Kobe White. Like, I don't think a first rounder and $18 million of salary cap relief makes a lot of sense. Now, if you spin zone this and say, okay, we're using this $18 million to absorb, like, Isaiah Hartenstein, or absorb Jonathan Kuminga, or Kristaps Porzingis, or one of those guys in free agency, or Quentin Grimes, yeah, then it looks a little bit more appealing. But making this, like, in season where you can't say that's like a one-to-one transaction, it's tough to sell. I mean, this would be, I think, this would be a pipe dream for the Clippers. But you got to take on that bad Patrick Williams contract, which also kind of goes against what they wanted to do with having a bunch of cap space in 2027, because you'd also have to extend Kobe White in this deal as well. That's like the last deal, I think, in the East that can work. Like, nothing with Orlando, nothing with Houston, Minnesota. Portland's trying to be competitive this year. We tried Utah. Phoenix, no. I mean, I don't think you're getting O'Neal or Al. Maybe you can get Royce O'Neal, but, like, at that point, I don't even know if there's a point in that unless it's the straight salary dump. Like, do the Warriors want John Collins for Kuminga? I don't know. The Pelicans are another desperate team. I think that's the last team we could probably talk about is the Zion thing, because I don't think Zion has much trade value in this league. And say you did John Collins, Bogey, you'd have to throw in, I think, an appealing asset to this team instead of salary relief, because they can cut Zion, because Zion's contract isn't fully guaranteed right now. If you waive Zion after this year, it's not guaranteed. So you would have to probably include, I think, a first rounder. Maybe you could see that, but I don't think New Orleans would do this. That's just not enough, in my opinion, to trade away Zion Williamson. So I think that trade is really tough to pull off. Just because the Clippers don't have a good asset, like a young asset, and I don't think they're moving Zubats in any win now move. So now we can maybe have a little bit more fun with this, where we think that the Clippers are okay blowing it up, because there's a bunch of different moves. So I'm not going to go into, like, every single team that could trade for Derrick Jones Jr., because I do think Derrick Jones Jr. is good enough to warrant a first-round pick. Derrick Jones Jr. is a very good defender. He's a great athlete. He's 28 years old. Does he have a player option next year? No, or I think it's guaranteed. No, yeah, it's fully guaranteed. Like, this is a very appealing contract to a lot of teams. I do think if they made Derrick Jones Jr. available, he would go for a first-round pick. Can compare it to, like, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, those trades to the Dallas Mavericks at the 2024 deadline. Or maybe it's like a one-for-one swap with a young, intriguing player, a la Alex Caruso, Josh Giddey, but maybe on a lesser scale. So yeah, like, most playoff teams here would be interested in trading for Derrick Jones Jr. I'm not going to go through every team right now. The fun part of this is, like, James Harden. James Harden could be a free agent at the end of the year. He's slated to make $42.3 million on his player option. The way Harden is playing this year, I think he might opt out. He's probably going to opt out and try to do another 1+1 until he's, like, not able to get another one, because he's clearly regressed. So what teams would trade for James Harden? I made a video talking about one trade idea for every team, and I thought the Raptors were an intriguing team, because once again, I don't think James Harden's value is that scary for teams to go out and get. Now, the Raptors are 14-6. They just, I don't think that's updated with the Knicks loss. So they just kind of got convincingly beat by the Knicks. I think if you traded for James Harden, just throwing this out there, right? Like, can James Harden, he actually might have a no trade clause because of the player option, similar to what Fred VanVleet has. Can he veto a trade? No, he's got a trade kicker. Yeah, I don't think he can veto a trade. Because it's probably like an increase from last year or whatever. Either way, like James Harden to Toronto. They have easy matching salary that could maybe intrigue the Clippers. It could be one of two guys. I think it could be Emmanuel Quickley or it could be RJ Barrett. Emmanuel Quickley basically replaces James Harden. I think that contract is a little bit scarier for the LA Clippers just because it's owed $32 million. It's basically $65 million more over 2 years than RJ Barrett. So that's why I think RJ Barrett could maybe headline this deal in like an intriguing scoring wing that's still young, 25 years old going forward. I don't think you're getting Colin Murray Boyles. I do think you can get like, so the trade I came up with in my SROS video was essentially, what was it? It was Harden. I don't know when this is going to eventually load here, but it was Harden for these three. And then I think I might have thrown in like, oh, I threw in Chris Paul because I want to get Chris Paul in the playoffs. And if they're tearing it down, yeah, Chris Paul's got to get traded. So it was something like this. Once again, I don't really know James Harden's value. I do think it would, like Grady Dick's an intriguing young piece for sure. RJ Barrett is still 25. And I think Agbaji could be a good player with consistent playing time and find like that real home for him. Harden, like, I don't know. I'm intrigued about like Harden, maybe quickly in the backcourt. Harden, Jamal Shed, and then you have Scotty, Ingram, and Jakob Poeltl. That's something in the East. I think teams in the past have had to mortgage their future, like the Brooklyn Nets in a way. Philly kind of got lucky with the Ben Simmons asset, and then the Clippers had to trade away 2 future first-round picks and like 4 rotational guys that really weren't much for Harden at the start of the 2024 season, I think. So that was like the fall of 23. This, you don't have to trade away any draft capital. And the Raptors have depth. Like you make this trade, you're either going to have one of Shed or Quickly off the bench. You're going to have Mamu off the bench. You're going to have Mobo, like, I don't know if you're going to give him minutes again, but you have Colin Murray Boyles coming off the bench. Jacoby Walter coming off the bench as well. Like those are names there. It's something to think about. I don't even know if Raptors fans would want this and be like, all right, let's slow down a little bit. We don't need to trade away a 25-year-old, a 22-year-old, and Agbaji's what, 25 as well? Another 25-year-old for James Harden. Totally get that. It's just an idea for Toronto if they wanted to be aggressive. I mean, kind of going through the teams in the East, like Miami was, I think, linked to Harden at one point. The only way for Miami, I think they would like to do this if they were able to trade away the Terry Rozier contract. Like, I don't know if we have a ruling on that. I don't think they could trade it. Like, obviously, well, I remember when Kevin Porter Jr.'s incident happened where he had the domestic violence against him. The Thunder traded for him, got like a free or 2-second rounder, and then cut him. And then I think he played in Greece for a year and then came back to, you guessed it, the desperate LA Clippers. So I don't know, like Rozier, you could just, I don't know, get him and then cut him. If this makes the money work, you're still off by about $15 million. So you would have to include, like, you're not getting, I'd assume Wiggins, Hero, Bam off the table. Like, it's really tough to, oh, you know what you could do? You could poison pill Jovic, right? Because Jovic is not making 4.4. He's actually making like 15. So Miami's hard capped by about like 900K. I don't know. Say you throw in Keyshawn Johnson or Drew Smith, we could do. So that would work. I mean, you would, I think, need a first rounder out of this deal. Like, Jovic isn't as appealing as anyone we talked about for Toronto. So, like, would Miami trade away their first rounder this year and a 2027 swap in a way? Something like that, like a swap on a swap for Miami to go out and get James Harden. I don't know how, I mean, Harden and Powell worked last year, but then a lot of mouths defeated with Harden, Powell, and Hero. So I don't even know if I like that a lot. I don't think Detroit would. I mean, Detroit can get there with matching money with like Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey. Like, that might be it. And Jaden Ivey might be good enough, but probably not for the Clippers to do that because of the unknown of Ivey coming back from that injury. I don't think Charlotte is trading for James Harden. Milwaukee is funny. Like, reunite. Like, okay, so like Milwaukee, I think I talked about that idea in my Kings video of them going out and getting Zach LaVine as another shot creator around Giannis. I mean, Harden and Giannis had that like MVP rivalry against each other in 2018 or 2019. You could definitely go from like Kuzma, Bobby Portis, Do I need, like, that works financially. Once again, though, you're not trading Rollins, you're not trading AJ Green. The Bucks don't really have much draft capital to trade, so I don't think they would do that. I mean, yeah, they could trade a 2032 first. It just depends how desperate they are in keeping Giannis happy. But Milwaukee's looked so bad this year without Giannis offensively, and I don't think they're a finals team with Giannis healthy. Unless they make it maybe a trade for Zach LaVine. That might be a little bit easier if you don't have to dip into the capital. I mean, the Pelicans are a desperate team, maybe, with their first-round pick situation. I don't really think anything there materializes just because of Harden's age. Dallas wants to cut corners a little bit, maybe. But you have Kyrie, you have AD. I think that would mean like AD's going elsewhere. Sacramento, you never know with their situation. Maybe that happens, I don't know, in the offseason. Minnesota is intriguing, but Minnesota doesn't really have like a terrible contract to get there. Like, you're not moving Gobert. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. I guess, I mean, after all the times Harden cooked Utah in the playoffs with Gobert, this would be kind of funny. It would have to be like Naz Reid. And oh man, it's actually really tough to get there. Like, would it be Randall? Like, do you really need Randall and Naz Reid? It would probably be Randall. And I don't even think that helps you. That probably makes you worse. Like, can you do Conley, Dillingham, and Reid? That might work. Actually, that might work. No. Yes. I mean, the Timberwolves are first name per team, so it makes it extremely difficult. That's why I don't think Minnesota, like I talked about in my SROS video, Dennis Schroeder might be more in line with them. And the only other team I think here in the West would be the Phoenix Suns. Just because they don't own their first round pick. Gillespie's a good backup point guard, but could also be an intriguing piece coming back. Like, I think just because of Jalen Green's age, I would prefer not to do that. But like, I don't know. It could get you there pretty easily. Like, would you do Jalen Green for James Harden, and then you have Harden and Booker? I don't really know. You're not winning the finals with that deal, so I don't really think you're doing that based off the potential Jalen Green has. So there is a lot of, or there's not a lot of James Harden, I think, suitors in a way. It's really tough. Yeah, a reunion in Houston would be pretty dope, but Fred VanVleet and decent matching salary would have to go back. I mean, you could probably get there, but now it just feels like we're playing 2K with this one. Fred VanVleet also has a no-trade clause. Finney Smith hasn't played a game for you. Sure, like, he could be in the trade, but like, you're not moving Steven Adams. I mean, can you move Capella? And you're not moving Tari Eason. Let me just do Dorian Finney-Smith. So you could do like essentially a 3-for-1 in a way. I mean, this is actually giving them too much money at this point. So say you removed Capella and you throw in like a Jeff Green. I'm just doing this for shits and gigs at this point. Like, yeah, sure. Storybook ending for Harden in Houston. It's probably not happening. Atlanta, this would be if like Trae Young went elsewhere. Nah, I don't think so. And then the other person, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi, it's a little bit more difficult because he's making about, $54 million. I did come up with a hilarious idea. It's hilarious. Like, it's not, don't take this one seriously, but it's like Kawhi. I mean, this trade is so stupid, but Paul George to the Clippers. The Clippers get at least one of their first round picks back, maybe both, for Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is making, or has basically one less year on his contract than Paul George. I thought this deal was able to go through. I guess it does hard cap them, unfortunately. LA's hard cap by like $300K. Could we throw Chris Paul? I gotta take the restrictions off. Say you throw in, or Chris Paul to the Sixers. Sure, whatever. But it would be hilarious that you would have Kawhi and Embiid on the same team, and you'd have Paul George back with the Clippers. I mean, Kawhi, you get off the Paul George contract a year early. You only have to give them one first round pick back. And the Clippers, I don't know. The Paul George contract is gross. I think you'd have to need like your other first round pick, like both of them back. And then I would think about this. But Philly, I mean, Maxey is playing really well. But what the F's the point of having Embiid and Kawhi on the same team? This isn't 2019. And these guys might combine to not even hit a full season of games. Going through the other teams, like, yeah, Milwaukee, sure. Phoenix, maybe. It's just who's beating the freaking Thunder. And Kawhi is making so much money. Like, Kawhi's not going back to San Antonio. The Lakers aren't getting Kawhi. Denver could have made sense if they had MPJ still, but that's not happening. Golden State would have to trade away Kuminga, Draymond, and something else. Like, that's making my head hurt right now. Portland, I don't think they want to speed rush this, and they would have to move, like, Jeremy Grant. maybe not the worst idea to get off the Jeremy Grant contract now and sell high, but he's been playing really well. Dallas doesn't make really any sense. The Kawhi teams are way thinner than I thought. Like Toronto. He goes back to Toronto. See, like at this point, it's just like, what the? I don't even know what we're doing at this point. We're trying to figure out a Kawhi trade. Like RJ Barrett and no, why do we need a fifth small forward in Toronto? So yeah, not a lot of Kawhi deals. I think it actually makes there's a lot more deals to figure out if the Clippers buy. If they actually sell, like I said, a lot of these teams would give up a first rounder, in my opinion, for Derrick Jones Jr. A lot of these, every team would probably give up 2 first rounders for Ivica Zubac if they had a center position opening. And then I don't think anybody's giving you a valuable asset for Collins is expiring. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. That was fun to do. If you did enjoy, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the LA Clippers and what they should do. I might do this again as we get closer to the deadline. I don't know how many teams I'm going to do this with, but I think you guys did enjoy. I like the Anthony Davis version of this. You guys enjoyed the Kings version of this. If you want to see like maybe a player version, let me know down below and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.